Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies are, they're not as good as I remember them being.
What the? Come on, dog.
What did he just say?
There's absolutely
Get this man out of
no
here.
way.
What kind of opinion is that?
Spider-Man is
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
not the best.
All right. Listen. Okay. Hold on. I know that right when I said that, a bunch of people that are watching this video probably started attacking me. Okay, look. I'm gonna explain myself, and I promise you, I'm not saying that these movies are particularly bad. Okay, I'm just saying I watched them all back to back again, and I realized that my nostalgia blinded me, and they're not as good as I remember them being. But that doesn't mean they're bad. Okay. Don't crucify me. Let me actually explain myself. I'm gonna explain all of my opinions on these things from across all three movies individually, okay? Don't shoot me, okay? Please, I just need y'all to listen, okay? Let me lock it in. All right, so the reason that I actually rewatched all of the Spider-Man movies is the same reason a lot of people probably did, and it's because they all recently got brought back to AMC theaters for a one-time only event, and I was like, I had to be there, bro. I love Spider-Man, all right? I love Spider-Man to death. I've seen all of the movies, like from Tobey Maguire all the way through all the Tom Holland movies, and I like a lot of them, most of them, but the majority of the movies. But those, when the first one came out, I was like 3, bro. We didn't see it in the theaters, so I needed this experience. I see it with my sister and her husband, and we went to go see it. And I was like, man, I've never seen these in theaters, besides the third one, because that by then I was old enough to see them in the movies. Like I would remember. I remember that. I remember seeing that one, but I had never seen the other one. So we seen every single one every day from Friday to Sunday. We seen one of each one every time. And let me tell you, it was an experience, all right? It was a good time watching all these again, but they are not as good as I remember them being, okay? And I'm gonna explain myself. Like I said, I'm not saying they're bad. I want to explain myself, and you're gonna listen to me, okay? I'm gonna make sure that we're on the same page of why, and I'm not saying your opinion is valid. I'm just saying that my opinion is this, okay? Let's start from the very first Spider-Man movie, okay? All right, so the very first Spider-Man movie is iconic for a lot of people, okay? Listen, it's just the first one that ever came out. And to be fair to Spider-Man, all right, and give it a lot of credit, this is the very first superhero movie of its time that was like, in general, superhero movies weren't really popping off at the time. So this was like the first, and it actually did super well because it was actually pretty well done, at least for the time period, and very entertaining, okay? There's a lot of goofiness, there's a lot of campiness, there's a lot of cheesiness, but there's also a lot of heart as well, and the acting is so fun for what the movie was. All I'm gonna say though is that movie would not fly if it came out now, okay? It's way too cheesy, it's way too goofy, and it's way too, I don't even know, like it's just like way too over the top for it to fly as a superhero movie now. Like if that movie came out in 2025, it would be cooked, okay? But because of when it came out, man, it still holds up pretty well, I think, okay? It is hilarious to watch it now though, because it is so freaking cheesy, bro. Like the dialogue is so goofy. Bro, I love watching it back because there's so many funny things that probably weren't funny at the time, but it's funny to see now, okay? It's hilarious. Some of my favorite lines are all in the first movie because it's so, like, the Green Goblin is just so funny. Willem Dafoe does such a great job of playing this crazy man, but the lines that he says are so funny, bro. He hits you with the I surrender. Or he's like, when he's literally holding Mary Jane and like a whole bunch of people on one side, and he's just like, let die the woman you love, or suffer the little children. And it's like, bro, right now, if somebody had a movie where it's like, let the kids die or the woman die, you choose, and drops them, bro, we would be like, what? But it works for that movie, okay? It works for that movie, and there's a lot of charm with this movie and a lot of cheesiness in that movie. But I think the cheesiness works for the movie given the time period, okay? And it still holds up, and it's still entertaining to watch the first one, okay? It is, again, though, very cheesy, and a lot of the stuff that happens is kind of nonsensical in the first one. Like, it's just, like, wildly all over the place. Like, it just aged so... I don't want to say aged poorly, but I guess it's kind of the way I would have to say it. But I don't mean in, like, a particularly bad way, but it does feel really outdated watching it now. Like, it was great for the time period, but watching it now, you're like, oh no. Yeah, and most of the time, I just spend a lot of the time laughing at the first movie for how goofy it is and how silly some of the plot points in the dialogue actually is. It's just hilarious. But for the most part, I feel like the characters are pretty decent in that movie. I mean, when you think about all of them, given what they had to work with at the time, I feel like most of the characters are pretty decent in that movie, and the fights are actually solid. The CG is pretty decent too. It still holds up pretty well. I mean, like, it's not actually that bad, you know what I'm saying? Given it was the very first movie at the time when it came out. Like, there's just one super insufferable character in that movie that is significantly worse than the second movie, but she's insufferable in this movie, and everybody knows this. I feel like everybody knows this. Everybody's talked about Spider-Man by now, but Mary Jane in the first and especially the second movie, so frustrating. It is so frustrating watching that character be so freaking terrible to Peter Parker and him going after her the whole time, knowing she's such a badly written character. Like, there is no reason for me to support Peter Parker wanting this woman at all. He even tells her he doesn't want her, but she's just like, what if I force myself on him the whole time? And it's so infuriating to watch. Oh my God, it's so annoying. She's so annoying. But when I get to the second movie, we'll talk about that more. We're still talking about the first movie, okay? I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, I feel like I'm ripping into the movie a little bit more than I probably should, but like, it's not necessarily, like I said, it's just kind of campy when you watch it now, but it's not necessarily in a bad way, especially when I think about the very last scene where like Peter and Green Goblin are fighting again at the very end. And it's like this pretty intense scene right before, you know, I guess spoiler alert for people that haven't seen it for whatever reason, right before Green Goblin dies. You know, it's a pretty intense little fight scene that I think is really fun to watch. It is weirdly inconsistent with how their power scaling works when they fight each other, but it doesn't matter. The power of boners is the reason that Spider-Man's able to gain super strength. Talking about Mary Jane, he's just in every movie. So, you know, anyway, that scene is pretty intense, and I just think that it's just like really, I like that scene a lot, especially when you think about the fact that Peter learns who he is at the last minute. He learns like, oh my God, this is Norman, my mentor, the person that I appreciated so much. And then you know, obviously we get the, you know, the death scene, which is so hilarious to watch now. Like, this is one of the reasons the movie isn't as highly rated as I remember it being. Okay, not that it's bad, okay, but it's just everything that I'm supposed to take seriously in this movie, I really can't, because it's inconsistent and it's really funny. Like when he dies and he just goes, don't tell Harry, and he just falls over. Or right before that, right before he gets shanked to death, they for whatever reason they had him go, oh. I'm like, bro, what, dude? And it's hilarious, but it doesn't bring the movie like it's fun. It's like fun, and it works for this movie. I feel like it wouldn't work now, but I feel like it works for this movie given how cheesy it is at the time. Like, it just feels so, like, I don't know. It's so satisfying to watch the first one, but it's just not like peak cinema or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like it's a fun movie. It's honestly just a fun movie. It's a good little introduction to Spider-Man, and there's some inconsistencies that are like odd, like for example Green Goblin throwing a bomb at people that it blows everybody up, or it just slightly damages somebody's face, or blows up a rock or something. I seen people get vaporized into skeletons, and then in the next scene I see them get blown up and nobody dies. It's like, you know, that's a nitpick though. I'm not gonna say the movie goes down in points because of that. It's more because of how unserious the movie feels when it's trying to be serious. It's just kind of the way it is. But I've been talking about Spider-Man 1 for way too long, so I'm gonna have to just stop at some point. But like I said, Spider-Man 1 is definitely a good little intro, and it's a solid movie. Is it the best of the series trilogy? No, it's not, but it's fun and it's a good time, and it's definitely worse than I remember it being watching it now, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's worse. And I think that if I'm gonna give this movie a rating right now, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. It's like it's a 7 out of 10. I still enjoy that movie, okay? But now we move on to Spider-Man 2.
Pizza time.
All right, bro. So this movie is the only one that doesn't fit the criteria, okay? This movie is like, just no matter how many times I watch this movie, dude, it's still like one of my favorite Spider-Man movies ever made, okay? Like, it just emotionally, it is such an impactful movie. Literally, it's just interesting that this man, Peter Parker, loses his powers because of the sheer load of stress and depression going on in his head. And it's just like the fact that it affects him that badly that we have to watch him go through an emotional journey while also trying to figure out his physical Spider-Man journey. His main villain, he can't even really deal with properly because he doesn't have his webbing, and it's just like he has to figure out his own mental struggle before he deals with the problem around him. And it's just like, bro, what was Sam Raimi doing? What was he smoking where he managed to make something like that? Like, that movie feels like the first Spider-Man movie just feels like, I don't know, a goofy comic book movie. It's kind of like all it has very great things. It's got a very entertaining villain, and it's got an entertaining dynamic between people, but it's also just like really goofy, okay? I'm sorry, it's really goofy. This one though, I wouldn't call it night and day from 1 to 2, but it's like they locked in for the directing and the screenwriting, and I'm like, bro. I mean, obviously there's still the corny lines that come in every now and then, but like, as far as the movie goes, it's so good, at least in my opinion. Like, even now, I'm like, you would think that this, like, if this movie came out now, it would still be great. I mean, God, it has one of the best Spider-Man scenes ever with the train scene where he's literally holding the train up, and then at the very end, after all that, they all bring him in after he falls out, he passes out, and they're just like, don't worry, bro, we're not gonna tell your secret even though your mask came off, dog. And they like, bro, it's just the sheer love that they have for Spider-Man, despite him having a lot of stuff going on where they didn't love him so much in the beginning of the movie, they love him so much at the end, and it's just such a nice, it's just emotionally, it's just so gripping. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he doesn't even use his powers that often. He's not Spider-Man that often in this movie because he can't be. And it's still, like, it's just like the focus on Peter Parker and his struggles are so satisfying to watch, bro. And the villain's development, Doc Ock, is also just really good. I mean, we see him be a normal scientist guy that gets manipulated by the arms, and then he tries to do this stuff that he wants to do for the greater good. And it's like, I just feel like it was so well done for this movie. Like, and from Spider-Man 1, it's not like they had bad development for characters already, so it's not like it's a surprise that the next villain is also good. It's just that it was so good that it's like, dude, you wouldn't even think that it was the same director, I guess. I can't say that though, because 1 and 2 are pretty consistent with one another in terms of like the storyline. You can tell they're in the same trilogy, so I can't really say that, but it's like something about 2, man. It has so many great things about it. They address so many of the different issues that like Peter has to deal with, especially my least favorite issue in the entire movie, which is Mary Jane, which we all know sucks, okay? But in this movie in particular, she's so infuriating, because in the first movie, Pete's like, listen, bro, I can't tell you I love you. I'm not gonna tell you I love you. I'm gonna tell you this right now. We can't be together, okay? And then in the second movie, she immediately is like, hey, yo, you should be with me. And he's like, no. And she's like, but I want you to. And he's like, I can't do it, bro. And so she's like, you know what? I'm getting married. He's like, what? Yeah, I'm in love with a man right now anyway, and I'm going to get married to him. We're engaged. So, And I'm like, bro, the audacity of you to literally try to manipulate him into being with you, and then you're already with somebody, and then you throw it in his face. You literally got married, well, engaged to a man out of spite because you wanted to be with this guy who told you in the last movie, and you heard it from him that he couldn't be with you. Like, I hate Mary Jane so much. She's literally all over the place. In that one movie, I think she hops from like multiple guys, or not even that movie, but across all the movies between like Harry and then not Peter, but almost Peter. And then there's freaking, what's his name? J. Jonah Jameson's son. And it's just like, bro, oh my God, dude. Like it's so frustrating. Oh, and oh my God, Flash Thompson, which I forgot to talk about in the first movie. That scene is so fun to watch now. It's goofy, but like the scene where he catches the plate of stuff is still cool. And the fight scene is hilarious. And it's just really goofy seeing this man be like a grown man in a high school, but everybody already knows that's an issue, whatever. But let's move on to 2 again. Watching Mary Jane is like the most infuriating character. And one of a YouTuber that I enjoy talked about this before, and I see what he's talking about, and it's low-key kind of annoying. And it's the fact that for whatever reason, every single person in this movie is a jerk to Peter, and it makes it so infuriating to watch. Like, no matter what happens, no one is nice to him. He just gets hoed by everybody, his own family included. This man literally tells Aunt May that he was there when Uncle Ben died and it's his fault, quote unquote, that he's dead. And Aunt May is just like, wow. And then she just leaves him. She just leaves him there. I mean, eventually, at least she goes back to being Aunt May and explains that it's, it's okay, I understand, blah, blah, blah. But that first scene, it's like, oh my God, nobody is nice to this man. Like, at all, bro. It's so frustrating to watch everybody be mean to this guy. And I mean, I get it. That's probably the point. It doesn't make it any less annoying to sit through. Like, I feel like this is coming off as like a bad thing. Like, it made the movie worse. I wouldn't say that. It was just tiresome. Like, dude, can this man have any good luck at all, please? Speaking of jerks, bro, like Harry Osborn in that movie is like horrendously annoying because his only character trait that whole movie is just kind of like, I need to kill Spider-Man. And every time he's in a scene at all, for any reason, that's all he talks about. Like, Spider-Man saves him and he's literally just like, this doesn't change anything. And it's like, bro, he just saved your life. Can we get a break from this at all? Or like another scene where literally there's like a whole freaking explosion and all this other chaos goes on with Doc Ock and his experiment, and freaking Harry comes out of it and he's just like, I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Spider-Man. And I'm like, bro, you literally almost died. Can we give it a rest? Like for a minute? Like his only dialogue the whole movie is just like, I need Spider-Man dead. It's actually super annoying. But that's all he does. It's annoying in a funny way though. Like I'd be laughing every time he says it. I just start laughing because I'm like, bro, what? Yeah, like, can we actually have any other character trait? I get it. He apparently killed your dad, but dang, do we have to have every line that you say relate to killing Spidey? Really? But other than that, bro, like I said, that train scene, the whole fight is so cool. It's actually like, even now watching it, it's like, bro, how did they choreograph this? And that goes for the whole series, honestly. All the fight scenes, it's like, how did they choreograph these? Like, because it's actually insane. But that train one is so cool. Like all the little things that they have him do against Doc Ock in that that train before he has to stop the train, and we get that memorable scene that I already talked about. It's so good. And at the very end of the movie, it's nice to see this man Pete convince Doc Ock of his actions being wrong after, like, you know, his little neck thing gets electrocuted and he can actually control himself again a little bit, and then goes out with this big sun thing in there. It made me really want to watch No Way Home again, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just like the whole arc of that whole movie, and watching that man Peter have to, the first thing he does in that movie obviously is he like decides, I don't need to be Spider-Man anymore, I need to be Peter, and that's why these problems are happening. But then he starts to see all these different things happening with the crimes, and he's like, no, this doesn't feel right. Like, I want to be Pete and I want to be with Mary Jane, because if I could be Peter, I could be around for more stuff. But then he's like, wait, this doesn't feel right. I'm letting all these things go wrong. And Aunt May is like, yo, if I'm Spider-Man, I'm telling him, like, he basically tells Aunt May, yeah, no, Spider-Man left, bro, he's not coming back. And she's like, yo, that doesn't make sense. Like, he's the hero, and sometimes you gotta do these sacrifices and like, he's like, dude, she's being so real right now, like, I actually gotta lock in for my people. And it's just the entanglement of emotions is just so engaging, bro. And then I like, this movie holds up so well, and I'm like, watching that in the theater again was so satisfying. Like, actually, that movie for me, if I have to give it a rating now, is like a 9 out of 10. Bro, like, straight up. Like, it's still got some of the weird, cheesy, campy things of the first movie, but it still like holds, like, it doubles down on like being like a movie. Like, it feels like a real enjoyable emotional journey on top of a superhero movie. And it's more of a movie about Peter Parker wrestling with trying to become who he's supposed to be, and it just makes it so much better. So like, one of the reasons why now this is a strange opinion for a lot of people, but it's the reason why I like Iron Man 3 so much. In the same vein, it's just like, I love that they decided to tackle his emotional journey along with being Spider-Man. It just made the movie so much more entertaining for me. So I do believe that Spider-Man 2 is still one of the best Spider-Man movies ever made, okay? I really think so. Is it a perfect movie? No, but it's close. It's very close, in my opinion, okay? I'm giving that movie a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10, bro. That movie is impeccable almost, okay? I love that movie. And then we get to the one that is not nearly as good as I remember it being.
This feels good.
So Spider-Man 3, when I was a kid, is the very first movie I seen in theaters of all of them. And I remember loving that movie to death as a kid, bro. I was like, yo, that movie was so freaking cool. And then I grew up and watched it again at one point, and I was like, huh, no, this movie doesn't feel as good as I remember it, but it's still pretty good. And then I watched it again today, and it's just not good, in my opinion. Like, at all, actually. It has good things, but as a movie as a whole, it's a mess. That movie is a hot mess, okay? Now, I maybe people, I mean, I think it's widely accepted that that movie is bad, but I'm not sure how widely accepted and how many of y'all are cooking me in the comments, okay? Listen, I'm just gonna say it's my opinion, but I'm going to back my opinion with information, okay? So it doesn't sound like I'm talking out of my ass, okay? I want you to understand why I think this movie is not good, at least in my opinion, okay? Let me explain myself. For one, Mary Jane is as annoying as she always is, but less so. And sometimes her motivations for being annoying are a little bit fair. Like, for example, when this man Spidey decides to be Spidey and kiss Gwen Stacy in the front of everybody while Mary Jane is there and he knew it. Now, do I think he did that out of maliciousness? No, I think he did it for publicity, but it was still a stupid idea. Peter Parker is stupid in this movie a lot of the time, okay? He's really dumb and it's kind of really annoying, but he does a lot of stupid stuff in this movie, okay? But point is, that is the reason why Mary Jane has that one understandable moment. But other than that, she's kind of still the same infuriating person, okay? But that's not the reason why this movie is a mess, okay? This movie, like everybody knows, has 3 villains in it, okay? It's got the symbiote, Venom, and it's got the Green Goblin, Harry Osborn's version, and it's got Sandman. And this movie just kind of throws them all together in one movie, and like, it's just the pacing of the movie because of the amount of people they have in it. It's just like flying around, bro. I mean, literally, there's like, things just happen so fast in this movie that no villains get development at all. They're just getting skipped over, okay? They have cool little cute scenes every now and then, but they just gonna get sped through, okay? This man Peter decides he's gonna learn to propose. He's gonna propose to his girl. He's like, yeah, I'm proposing to Mary Jane. And then we get one of the coolest scenes in the movie where Harry Osborn finds him while he has the ring that he was given by Aunt May, and he's like, I need to protect this with my life. So the whole scene, he's trying to avoid losing that ring while dealing with Harry Osborn on his freaking ass, trying to beat him down. And it's just like so entertaining. It's a very entertaining scene to watch, I can't lie. And that's a lot of the stuff in this movie. The choreography of action scenes are pretty good. My problem is that there are way too many action scenes. This movie decides to go full gung-ho into just having action set pieces, and it's just too much. Like, it's just like, there's not enough character building. There's way too many action things compared to the character building that in the second one. Like, they had a pretty decent balance, I think, in the second one, especially with the story they were trying to tell. This one, it just feels like they were like, all right, we got to amp up the ante here. How many action scenes can we have? And they just throw them all in there every chance they get. And it's just kind of chaos. But like I said, too many villains. So they start off with this whole scene with Harry Osborn. It's like, okay, Harry Osborn is the villain. That's cool. And then he thunks his head and forgets the last two movies. So it doesn't matter. He just doesn't remember the movies and he gets knocked out of the movie so that a new villain get introduced. Sandman, who they just cut straight to in the freaking sand thing where he gets his powers and he gets that really cool scene where he can't pick up the locket. I like that scene. It's a cute little scene. But then after that, we got to deal with him being the villain. And then after that, he gets knocked out at some point. And then we get another villain. Not Harry, but Venom at some point comes back. Then the Sandman comes back. And then, because obviously the symbiote falls from the sky at some point while he's on a bike and attaches to his bike or his scooter, what do you call it? And he brings it home and it just sits there dormant in his room for like 45 minutes of the movie. It's just not even there. It has no relevancy for an extremely long time. And then it attaches to him and he becomes the Black Spidey. You know what I'm saying? One of the coolest suits in all of the Marvel suits, in my opinion. I say that a lot. I'm sorry. But it's one of the coolest suits. And he gets that suit and now he's got the Venom suit and now he's all dark and goofy. But now we get all the dumb stuff because now he's going to be the edgy. Like, for whatever reason, he's edgy instead of like mean. He's just edgy and just like, wow. You know, we get the cool, the funny little boom, 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 when he's dancing to no music, which is so dumb. And he's just doing all this really stupid, dig on this. It's just like that whole section of the movie is so stupid. It's so dumb, but it's hilariously entertaining. It's funny. It's just, it's awful, but like, it's also hilarious. So like, I can't sit there and be like, oh, I'm having a bad time with this movie. No, I'm still having a good time. It's just really dumb. It was like all the stuff that's happening is dumb. On top of all the pacing issues of all the villains and this, it's just so silly. And it's like, it's really hard to get attached to anybody because this movie's all gas, no breaks. Like there's no chance to relax or get any time with anyone. There's like a scene where people have a conversation and then we just back to a villain because you gotta remember there's still a villain there, but they always do one villain, knock villain out of the script, let other villain come in. And it's so noticeable now when I'm older. It's like they have a villain at one point and then because they have to do another villain, they just slap the other villain out the movie for a while and let the other one come in. And then they just slap that villain out so that the new one can come in. And it's like they're never all prevalent at the same time because it can't be, but it just makes like no logical sense in the story form. Why did this person just leave? Like it doesn't, what are we talking about? This person just fell out the movie for a while. I mean, it's extremely noticeable at the end of the movie when we get the whole like scene where Green Goblin and Spider-Man are fighting together against the Venom and the Sandman. And at one point the Sandman just, he's unkillable, impossible threat. And then, Harry shoots some rockets at him and he falls over and disappears until at the very end he has a conversation with Pete and he's just like, listen, man, I didn't kill your uncle, bro. That's it. It wasn't on purpose. And he's like, I forgive you. I'm like, bro, why did those rockets knock you out like that, for one? And two, why'd you just disappear the whole time? Just so he could have a fight with the Venom like solo, one-on-one. What happened to the duo? It's like there's just so much going on and none of it ties together at all. And you can feel it, bro. It's just crazy. The fact that Harry Osborn loses his memory the entire movie and he just remembers it because he drinks some liquor and looks in a mirror is really, really dumb. Like, what do we, like, he didn't have I would have accepted it a little bit more if he hit his head again or something, bro. No, he just remembers the movies again randomly. And then he doesn't really do anything about the fact that he remembers everything until Pete comes and visits him and he's like, hey, yo, listen, man, I'm gonna need you to help me out. Well, that's not true because he blew up his face at some point after he visited him with the black suit. But anyway, he comes back and he's like, yo, I need your help. So you gonna help me out? And when he asks him for help, the butler that he had all this time decides to finally randomly tell him that, his dad died to his own thing, which, why did he wait so long to do that? And two, how did he know it was him killing himself? How did he know that Spidey didn't throw the glider at him instead of the glider actually just flying into, I don't know. This movie just skips over important plot points and it just lets things happen. Like I said, this movie is an absolute freaking mess. Like the black suit has there's some cool shots in the movie and stuff like that, and there's like fun little moments for sure, and this movie is definitely entertaining to watch because of how goofy it is. But it feels like this movie feels like night and day compared to Spider-Man 2 in this one. Like, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, what happened? It feels like an entirely different, not entirely different director, because it does feel like a storyline is being told, and it does feel like all of the movies are interconnected, but it also feels like the script is not, it's not really solidified. It's like it's just all over the place. There's so many things going on. And I think this movie would have been significantly better if they just chose any of the villains and focused on just the one. But they chose so many, and so the movie is just chaos all over the place. and you never can have time with anyone to have a really developed thing, and then they just kind of rush through the end. I mean, Harry Potter, holy crap. Harry Osborn's character literally just undergoes an arc after he gets his memory back in like 2 seconds. He literally gets his memory back, gets blown up, and then he's just like gets told the plot of the first movie, and so he's fine now and he helps. So when their duo comes up, it's not satisfying as like when they come together. Like it is and it isn't. It is because it's cool to watch them work together as a team up, but it's not like as cool as it could have been because their relationship dynamic, it wasn't built up. Because oh my god, if I say Harry Potter one more time, I'm gonna crash out. Harry Osborn, he literally just he doesn't have like, he has one line all movie. He's just like, I hate you, Peter. I hate you, Spidey. And that's it. And then at some point, the movie just goes to him being, I love you, Spidey. I love you, Pete. But there's no like development over time because there's no time for it. They have to deal with the Sandman and the black suit Venom and all this crap. So there's no time to have the development of these people and their relationship together being a struggle and a strain. After the very first scene of the movie, they literally shot themselves in the foot. There's too much going on. They literally can't. So when their team up comes, there isn't this whole like, oh my god, I love that they're dynamic was so struggly and they got to this point. It's more like, oh, he's helping him now, yay. And then their team up is kind of fun to watch because like I said, the action pieces are still entertaining to watch, but it's just not the weight of what it could have been. It's not the same because they didn't spend enough time on their relationship. They just forced their way through it. Like they skipped over like all of it for a long time because Harry loses his freaking memories after bonking his head, and then they just don't address it because they don't have time. They don't have time to, and it's very disappointing. And like literally, I remember when he finally pulls out that red suit and the music cue hits after wearing the black suit the whole movie, after tearing it off. I remember thinking, wow, this is such a, oh my god, I'm so glad to have him in the red suit. But now it was just kind of like, oh, it doesn't feel as earned now because the black suit had like 15 minutes of screen time of him being annoying, and it wasn't really like it did any real damage. You know what I'm saying? Like it did and it didn't. Most of the time though, the suit just made him a douchebag. It didn't make him like a threat, a villain of any kind. He didn't really do anything super dastardly. I guess he did. He kind of murdered the Sandman, but like, I don't know. It just didn't, it wasn't that he didn't do enough damage. It was that the damage felt so quick. The big things that he did happened like this, and then we dragged all the goofy dance moves and the douchebaggery that he is to random people. Oh, you fix this damn door. That scene is hilarious, by the way. But they drag all those scenes where he's just being a douche, and they just skip through all the scenes where he's actually just mean. Like he's actually like turning into a villain. So it doesn't feel earned when he gets that red suit out. It's like, I understand the idea, but it doesn't hit. It can hit for some other people, but for me, I just feel like because of the way they rushed through all the stuff that black suit did to him, it doesn't really feel that earned. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't a reason for him to get it. Like, you know, after hitting Mary Jane, it makes total sense that he hits Mary Jane and realizes, dang, this suit really messed me up. Like, that makes perfect sense. Don't get me wrong. It's just a matter of the fact that the scene is like, everything with that suit feels like it wasn't handled correctly for it to feel earned when he gets to the red suit. That said, it's nice to see him actually put it on and go in the last fight in the red suit, but it's not nearly as satisfying as I probably should have been. And that's this movie in a nutshell. It's just not as satisfying as it should have been. The campiness is still the same, but the dialogue is kind of painful. All the characters are rushed through to the point where they don't have personality changes. I mean, Peter is not that bad. He goes through an arc. In every movie, he has a genuine character arc, and that's one of the things that still keep this movie up a little bit in rank. But there's just, it's just such a badly paced mess that it is not nearly as good as I remember it being, and all the characters kind of get watered down a lot more in this movie than they did in the last one, except for Pete, which I'm glad that Pete doesn't. But anyway, I talked about that movie a long time because it's the one movie where I have some gripes, and my movie rating for that used to be a lot higher, okay? But now I watched it and I recognize that movie simply isn't very good, okay? And if you disagree with me, that's fine. I understand. You can have your own opinion. That is okay. I'm just letting you know, I don't think he was very good, and it was fun to watch because of how dumb it is, but like it still doesn't hold up for me at all. So that movie, I'm gonna say, is probably like a 3 to a 4 out of 10. We'll say a 4 out of 10. Thank y'all for watching and listening to my opinions on this movie, because it's like way overdue at this point, like 20 something years. But you know, I just seen the movies this weekend, so I figured I would talk about it. Why not, man? If y'all like this video, please leave me a like at the bottom, and if you haven't subbed yet, you know exactly what to do. And with all that being said, fellas, I will catch y'all in the next one. Also, my head is super freaking sweaty right now because it's hot in my room and my windows are closed. Peace out, homies.